So are you guys okay with a true roundtable discussion? Right? We're not, this is not, the webinar with 85 slides to show you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
more useful. I'm at a point in my life where I love collaboration, but every time I talk to somebody like you, I learn something. Then if I want to act on it, I can read books, look at podcasts, get myself orientated. And then when I'm ready I really want to take this step, then I'm gonna look for, some of you in the room are subject matter experts. I'm gonna look for you. I'm definitely not going to try to be the jack of all trades. And then I go to my subject matter expert. I kind of know what they're talking about. We can make decisions, take action. So I like collaboration more than, here's the final answer in a, like a webinar and slide deck. So I'm glad that sounds like you guys are oriented in the same way. Okay. And literally, I got you on my side screen. So if I don't see catch the body language, raise your hand, speak up, make sure you get in the conversation because I'm not coming here. I'm painting a picture of what I'm seeing. I think a good place to start is what motivated you to join this AI roundtable? Kind of why are you here? Can we do kind of a round robin on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would like to go first?
I mean, I can.
Hey Kirk, this is Vince. I just read your invite 3 minutes ago, and because I like you, I jumped on immediately. Period.
That's a good reason. Friendship. So, Vince, what are you seeing with AI? Are you getting your hands dirty?
Yeah, I really use it, and my biggest insight is, with being overeducated thanks to the U.S. Army with 3 masters and an online PhD that's the only degree I ever paid for myself. And as an online instructor for over 15 years, I mean, it's really critical thinking going in gets good answers coming out. But if you put garbage in, you get absolute garbage out. And so the people that I mentor with, especially grant writing, it's really all about the prompts and really driving AI to do exactly what you want it to do and being intolerant about it not following instructions. And that's kind of my biggest insight is critical thinking is paramount to this entire discussion.
I mean, we just can't put the question in there and take whatever answer it gives us. Like, hey, that's it. Yeah.
Some people even say, write me a prompt. And so you let it write its own prompt. And sometimes you could say, hey, improve my prompt before I make you do this. And that's another good little preliminary step that I've heard some people do. I trust my own prompts, but then sometimes it'll write even better prompts with a robust prompt. So I think it's all about the critical thinking and it's about like as a chef or, sous chef in the kitchen, it's about how you're cutting the vegetables and preparing all the ingredients before you're making your meal. That the preparation is just as important as, hitting return.
Yeah.
And I'll chime in real quick, Vince, with that prompt. I was told by an AI expert last year to say super prompt. I don't know if it makes a difference, but try that. Have it create the super prompt based on kind of what you've put in. And it's pretty cool what comes out.
So critical thinking, super prompt. Veronica, why did you join? What's your motivation for being here?
Yeah, so I'm in the book publishing world, book marketing. I work with authors and I do a lot of trainings with them on AI. And we've got an AI book writing boot camp that we're doing now. And so I'm just here just to kind of learn and learn new ways that people are using it in their business because I use it for my authors right now. I don't really use it within my business. I mean, I do for like marketing, coming up with content and social media. I haven't played too much with the AI agents. And I think you guys saw, some of you saw this. Last week, I found out that Claude can do virtual dashboards. So I put in like some marketing statistics, like, hey, this is how great your marketing went. These are how many books you sold, yada, yada. And it created an awesome visual dashboard for me that I could share that with the client. So that was really cool.
Yeah. That's something you never do from like a Google search kind of thing, right? Yeah.
Right,
Something.
right.
Yeah, and Demetrius, we were talking about kind of your background. What's the motivation for being here?
Is basically learn as everyone's talking about like prompts. So how do you use AI and not just the basics, but what I want to learn is how do I create agents and then combine the agents so something can rule them over. But ultimately, if I'm going to go into a company and transform the company or assess the company, how can I do that as efficiently as possible? How can I leverage my expertise? Better yet, how can I leverage multiple people's expertise to accelerate the process of business transformation?
Yeah, that's gonna be a huge area. I think from a like a sector growth. For people like me, like, what do we do? Right?
Mhm.
What's next? Kind of stuff. I'm reacting to the shiny object at the moment, right? Oh, hey, let's go after that. What about email Jason, Gregory, Diane?
Oh yeah. Hey, Kirk.
Hello.
Yeah, good to meet you guys. Why am I here? This is probably the first sort of discussion or round group chat that I've had with like-minded people on this topic and finding out where businesses are going. Are they afraid of AI? You know, what aspects of it are they adopting? I'm in London in the UK, by the way. And I have an AI automation agency. So we build and implement bespoke agents to automate a lot of the repetitive work. One of the sort of key ones that we implement are sort of agents that will go through an old database of the CRM of dead leads per se, and basically extract value out of those by communicating with dead leads via SMS and trying to see if there's any still gold left in the database, booking sales, booking appointments in the sales team's calendar, as well as voice agents, etc. So it's offloading a lot of mundane, repetitive tasks to AI, freeing up time for sales teams and to people to get on with other more productive work.
Yes,
So I'm just here to give my knowledge and to see whether I can help out and see where people are getting stuck with AI. And you mentioned not knowing where to start, etc. We run audits as well to look at the business's processes, workflows, bottlenecks, and then be able to advise, where they could implement AI. Because yeah, it's a bit, I guess, out there and a bit confusing because pretty much AI can do so much, and it's just knowing where to start. So yeah, that's what I'm here for today.
yeah, and for everybody, feel free to drop in your contact information, your LinkedIn to the chat box, and likewise the WhatsApp group. The more we know each other, the more we
Mm.
collaborate, the
Yeah, sure.
better,
I'll do that. No
right?
worries.
And I find with a lot of business owners, like they know something's out there that they can act on, but if it's not like crawl, walk, run, crystal clear, they won't act on it. The minute there's any kind of like overwhelming or uncertainty, because it makes
Yeah.
sense, right? If you don't know where to shoot, don't shoot. Um, so you got to have something, even if the path is not correct. If there's a path, you can take the first step, and then that illuminates the next three steps. It's okay to go from A to B to C. Not being totally restricted by I got to have the right answer, but some kind of clear path. And that's really helpful to kind of know the backgrounds, why people are coming in. Gregory, uh, no one's pressure. Gregory, Diana, you
Yeah.
guys, what?
So I use it. I've been using it since I think probably July last year. I think, or July 2023, I should say, probably almost 2 years ago now. And I'm a personal trainer. Uh, I was a information security analyst, and in grad school, for example, we would have to cite your sources. And usually, when I give information on health, I find that there's only a superficial layer of understanding of most people. And so, when I produce content, I make sure that I go at least 2 layers deep. And one thing that I find AI is good for is getting a consensus of ideas together that's sufficient enough to talk about at a more than superficial understanding of, right? And so a lot of these things with health is dynamic and personal training. A lot of it's dynamic and it's not just one thing that's the solution often. And so I find AI is really good for that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the same thing with search, right? So when Google search came out, it kind of, from my perspective, it kind of revolutionized how you would write a scientific paper, right? So you had all this access to information that you wouldn't have access to before. And now with AI, you can synthesize all of that information into smaller bits to make it more, meaningful and more useful, I think. And it's sort of like when I was in grad school, and I compared my experience to people that were in grad school 10 years before, it was so vastly different in the way we access information. And I think AI is the same thing right now. The way we're accessing information through AI is vastly different than when Google search came out, which is vastly different from when people were doing traditional research through online, right? And access to information. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
have find some hiccups with AI, like in 2 years ago when you're doing research. I think there's something weird going on there with when how it was citing sources, but it was saying something totally different than what it was citing. But now I find that a lot of that's been
Wow,
ironed
that's
out.
wild.
I really love what Greg just put out there. Actually, my name is Adam Peroni. I'm also a cyber infosec background person. Got a lot of background in AI. Actually, 15 years ago, probably built one of the early agentic systems out there that was totally independent as part of a graduate project. But nonetheless, what I loved about what Greg said there is that we're talking about like um, a new turn, similar to how the early internet, people saying, "What's this at in my email address?" All these types of things. How are we supposed to organize information? How are we supposed to understand any of this?
Mm.
I think we are going through a very similar, highly fragmented. What's our direction? All those kinds of questions keep coming up. Same thing as it was back then, or at least as far as I can certainly remember, lightly. But I think what's interesting is just how do we take smaller bites? Because the one downside, of course, is like we're already in an attention. Everybody's clamoring for attention in every single way, society. But the challenge with technology is just like, well, you got to leverage it well too, right? So being able to find some angle that we can play with, we can experiment with, and just take it in a way step by step, but seeing how quickly we can make learning loops, I think has been the most effective thing that I think would be really helppful for people to get used to.
That's great. Is that Adams at AP?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should probably post all my stuff. I tend to not use Zoom too often, so I apologize.
Yeah, Zoom. And likewise, definitely feel free to post your contact information, LinkedIn, whatever you want to do. Okay, let's Diane, what about you?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm just listening on the edge of my seat because I just love to hear people's initial thoughts on AI. And, we're stepping through the doorway into the intelligence age right now. And we're figuring out what does it mean to human post AI, right? And I think at the heart of this is that we are shifting from being technology users to technology stewards. And what that means is that how we adopt AI for us personally, professionally, and then within our companies, within our industries, within the market, et cetera, the systems, in a fractal way, they spiral upwards. And so all of that is very interesting to me. I am a co-founder and COO of a company called Baryons Inc. And our website is baryons.ai. And we feel like the first immediate need right in front of us is what we're all talking about, figuring out this, how do I as a person start adopting AI in my life? How does that ripple out into my work and how I work with others, et cetera? And so the products that we have built, and we have beta testers. If you're interested, feel free to join the wait list, and we'll bring you into the beta testing. But this initial product is really helping folks kind of orient themselves in how and where and why they want to do that. And ultimately, this will become a translator for the human in the world of agentic everything, if that makes sense. So the more of us who are building lots of agents and orchestrators for those agents, suddenly, Demetrios's agents are going to talk to my agents, and then we're going to get the recaps, and then we will come together as humans in a different way. And but ultimately, as everything becomes more high tech, for lack of a better term, we will need personal layers of translation for us what we want and need out of experiences where we are, like our specific context. How might we want to position our context for people around us? Ultimately, really striving for a future where AI does its thing safe and securely, and humans can human more. We have more bandwidth, more time to do what humans can uniquely do together.
Yeah, there's Diane. There's some really key stuff there. You got AI to AI agents communicating, working things out, and knowing to bring the human in, loop the human in, right? That's so used. Like go out and get price and figure this out. What about that? And then you could build on that, like AI, like when it intersects other technologies like robotics, blockchain, Web3. What's that, right? And it's autonomous vehicles. It's all AI. The brain behind all that's AI. Um, my accounting team was sharing like some of this automated AI, accounting and analysis stuff, which is very different than what there is today, right? Kind of so very different. And so,
Yeah.
hey, Michael, do you want to kind of weigh in on what motivated you to show up and participate in the roundtable today?
Yeah, thanks for hosting this, Kirk. First of all, um, there's a couple of things that I do a lot of real estate transactions um, for healthcare professionals, and it's a laborious process, like super laborious, and a lot of back and forth emailing, and I'm trying to figure out how to I can streamline that, and looking for how people have done that. And I also became an advisor for an AI company in the healthcare space. Not doesn't like to introduce them to people that need the technology that they have. So it's basically a salmon deal, and
Yeah,
so the more I can learn, the better.
yeah, that's huge. I mean, like when you talk about this, it makes me think if somebody sends you a contract, lawyer, it could be a contract you're writing, somebody sends you a contract, you can ask AI, hey, show me what I need to pay attention to in this contract. And I'm sure that's not the right prompt, but like apparently there's prompts and there's super prompts, right? Veronica's up in the game there. Um, but you can have AI your second lawyer, taking over the legal work of your first lawyer, right? The human lawyer, like what's not good? What else should I be thinking about? Highlight this, highlight strengths and weaknesses, read the real estate, whatever. And at least it doesn't necessarily negate that I need to still look at the whole document, but it maybe help me focus, use my time better. I don't know, right? Something there. Really interesting. And Davina, you joined us, so it's nice to have you. Do you want to weigh in on what motivated you to jump into this roundtable?
Yeah, it's nice to be here. I've been a part of Mission Matters for a while. I'm finally actually getting involved and joining these conversations. But I'm very interested in AI for a couple of reasons. I work with Anne Marie Penny, which some of you may know. I know she's active in here with Dream More, and we're really defining what the future of work looks like from an organizational structure with the a combination of AI, right, is going to completely change what an organization looks like. And so how can we come in and consult for this future of work organization, meaning creating departments and job descriptions and what these roles are going to be, but also partnering with companies to help them implement AI when maybe they're not in capacity to bring on a prompt engineer or a CAIO. And then I'm also working with another company that is doing AI consulting on a marketing level. So going and evaluating what their marketing department looks like and where AI can be integrated, whether it be content strategy or whether it be, building in as I think Diane, you had mentioned, kind of, building in agents that can talk to each other to be able to help support the various aspects of the marketing function. So small organizations that might have, only 3 or 4 people as a team can now have a team of like 10 with 5 marketing agents that are all integrating with each other. So I'm coming at it from kind of a couple different perspectives, both on the organization side as well as on the implementation of workflows for optimization within organizations.
It sounds like you might become the first billion-dollar business with what, you can get down to 1 employee. How these agents doing stuff? There's bets out there. What's going to be the business? It won't be me. I'm still too much about people, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a balance. Definitely the balance with Dreamore that we have, right? Because we're a recruiting and advisory company. And we don't want to bring in the fear of people worried about what happens to their jobs, but how can we help redefine what these organizational structures look like and also empowering people to upskill to be able to take advantage of the job opportunities that are going to exist in the future.
Yeah, it's gonna be very different.
Yes.
And Adam mentioned some of that, like the old world, the internet days, how some things came and go, and then it sorted itself out over time to kind of the 80/20. And Brian, how about you? What motivates you to join in?
Well, Kirk told me I had to be here today, so now well, the different CEOs and leadership teams that I work with, really only one's leaning into AI so far, and the path that they've opted to use is, for example, they use HubSpot, and so HubSpot's doing a lot of investment in AI, so they're just going to do a basically crawl from the point of view of using what HubSpot allows them to use from an AI perspective and then figure out a path forward. So instead of trying to do all the investment themselves, they're just going to leverage all the investment that HubSpot's doing in AI.
Over somebody else.
And I have some other clients where ideally I can learn how we can help them embrace more. We've talked about, for example, one's an architectural firm that's how do we create a database to look at the different materials that we used for design and be able to calculate updated pricing on the fly so that we can then use that in our proposals. And another client is a government contractor that's, I don't know how much truth is in it, but is wary of using AI to write the proposals because there's some sort of, I don't know if it's it red flags the proposal from that point of view. So there's some different use case scenarios that maybe all of you have knowledge on that can help me. And then from a personal perspective, I'm also looking how to fight less with AI. So maybe the super prompt is gonna help me get more clarity on how it responds.
Yeah, good.
I get into my arguments with Chat GPT. What is this?
That sounds fascinating. What was a recent argument?
No, just asking for what seems simple, and it's just like, I don't know, the responses just are not there.
Yeah, belief in computer.
Yeah.
I found a lot of the issues is context, especially when you're talking about health, for example.
Yes.
When you have a specific specific outcome of something, right? And you know that it exists. Sometimes you might double check with an AI agent and ask it, does this actually a likelihood? Is this actually a likelihood? And it will take a little more providing of context to help it reach that likelihood. Sometimes even your super prompts might not even be sufficient. Sometimes you have to really go down a rabbit hole and develop the conversation back and forth to where you get a more refined answer, I think.
Yes. Totally agree. It's actually, this is kind of fascinating. It's like there was a bit of research recently on how AI models act like toddlers, even though they have PhD plus quality background on things, like in theory. Um, and the interesting
Is
part
that
is
right?
like, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, right? Like they've been trained on the entire internet, so they have access to everything out in the world, right? But when you try to communicate with them, just as much as, good, what is it, the heuristics or the best practices on communication is like frame things like you're talking to sixth graders or stuff like that, like use simple language. um Sometimes that, like, laying out context and like giving, walking through that conversation and like figuring out and kind of testing its knowledge and stuff like that, or testing its reasoning or the concepts of reasoning that it's going through, is very similar to talking about talking to a, let's say, a young elementary, school child about their day. If you ask them like, how was your day? What did you do? They're like, well, I don't really have a good concept of time yet. Maybe I'll tell you about yesterday. Maybe I'll tell you about, things that happened this morning. Who knows?
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
but you try to talk with them about like feelings, like what was something that made you smile today? Did you have fun on at recess? Those types of things. And so similar strategies can be used on not every model, granted, but certainly for like, more of the generative ones, like particularly like creative work, is, there are oftentimes, particularly with some of the tools out there that artists are using to kind of disrupt, AI learning off of their own styles and stealing it essentially. Um, AI can certain models can get confused. So adding that context, like Greg was talking about, is like super important to frame where you're trying to go. So I think it's really interesting for a human to start thinking about, how do we think? How do we visualize because we know it intuitively. Like if we're saying, hey, I want to see, a picture of delicious pancakes on a plate, for my new menu, for my new restaurant or something like that. You kind of know what you're going for, but you have to then say, well, why do you need it? What makes something look delicious? Like you have to really start breaking down how we connect to something, both emotionally and intellectually.
Yeah, so it's different level of skill awareness. And I want to introduce Dave. Dave, you came in. Dave, the question is, what motivated you to join this roundtable?
Mm. Yeah, no, good questions. Hi, everybody. Sorry I was a little late. I'm dealing with a couple things on deals and whatnot. But yeah, I'm starting to deal more and more with AI, but it's more in the enterprise solution. So why I wanted to join this is get a perspective and of what other folks are thinking in AI, even at the more individual basis in terms of what's available. So that was number one. Maybe I could add some. I don't use it personally all that much. I don't, sometimes I feel I don't have time to even do that because it's a lot more different kind of work. But the other thing too is a lot of clients are enterprise or law firms and things like that. So just kind of a dialogue if you all are seeing that where companies don't necessarily they may block it or they may just discourage IT to having shadow IT to be popping up various chatbots and whether it's whatever frame of it you're using to see if you guys are seeing that or not and we can talk about that. So it's more of a dialogue of what's going on in the industry and then just a plethora of tools. Seems like every other day someone pops up some tool. Here's a greater,
Yeah.
you know it's just a
Yeah.
better mousetrap all the time. So I'm always thinking more of a you don't want to wait too long to get on the bandwagon, but you don't want to jump on every train that zooms by
Mm.
either. So I thought by joining this, I'd learn a little more about what you guys are all seeing or using, what might be sticky and what might be going away. I mean, I've had 3 or 4 companies come to me and say, "Hey, you want to partner? This is a great AI tool, and we think it'll help your dev environment or your business or whatever, right?" And who knows if they'll be around in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you bring up such a great point, especially on the legal side of things. So as the COO, I review all of the contracts and then bring in my counsel as needed because I don't personally have a JD or a law degree, um, but there is a noticeable difference in some of these prospective partnership contracts that I'm receiving about the ones that have been obviously generated through just their AI versus ones that have gone through, the legal law firm. So I think this is such an important area that goes back to security and governance and really knowing what the requirements are for your industry. And it's on all of us humans to just up our diligence, right? In reviewing each of those. And then if we're originating new contracts or new legal language, and if it's okay to create drafts of that and in with the AI to create to train an AI agent on, previous contracts, like make sure you're not sharing your data with the model, please. And you can turn that off. And so make sure you have that turned off, and then you can train an agent based on, the contracts that you are currently using, but always review it as a human and make sure you have an expert human review it as well, because you know there are just things that are going to go sideways if we don't do our due diligence.
Yeah, yeah, don't let it be the final answer. Take it 80% done, whatever it is, but it's got to be a skilled human, probably more skilled. This coming couple new people. B, do you want to? The question is, what motivated you to join this AI roundtable?
Yeah,
Then,
hey, thanks so much, Kirk. We jumped in very early on. I think it was 3 years ago, the very first ChatGPT. We have a team of virtual assistants. The impact's been massive in a positive way because AI has given us as a company the ability to do things that VAs in the Philippines, other countries could never do. Obviously, language was the biggest thing, right? Being able to craft near perfect messages, responses, DMs, emails, even copy, So but now we are far more interested in how to turn VAs into AI operators for businesses. The reality is that we can have a million amazing AI tools, but business owners are business owners. We tend to, dabble and not use tools effectively. So we are turning our VAs, or was it turning, encouraging VAs to become operators of AI technology for their clients. So being up to speed on the whole gamut from AI tools, AI agents, agentic AI is very critical for us to stay at the forefront of the industry knowledge.
yeah, it's good. Definitely moving. And I'm not sure if anybody else that's not on camera wants to kind of say their motivation. And I'm encouraging people to share their LinkedIn or contact information in the chat here and the WhatsApp group. The WhatsApp group is the continuing because this is not over, right? This AI thing's moving. It's just starting, right? Quite frankly, and this type of AI where we have access to it. Anybody else that's not on camera want to? Okay, and just kind of to bring it all together, I'm gonna screen share now, and I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna consider it a strategic framework that came from conversations that I had with many of you, and some of the takeaways from the different group and things going on. And Greg, kind of to build on your vision, like you talk about this personal training, this dynamic approach to health that's customized to that individual, which is very versus generic, especially the food pyramid that apparently is upside down, which that didn't help. But you could easily you could use AI to make a custom. Hey, I got somebody doing this. They have these medical conditions, and here's this. Then you do the last portion of it to make it exactly right, and then AI can make a video of that because maybe that particular person really responds well to videos and the visuals, or AI can make a song, right? And just in seconds, you got this song with whatever style you want into it. The power for creativity and that really connecting with another person is just off the charts. I mean, just unbelievable versus everything being generic and mass consumption. So good discussion. And then from an orientation standpoint, like this discussion, I'm going to walk through. We got a few moments here, but maybe this is a strategic approach, AI skilled humans, a tool inventory that the number of people that provided inputs, and then AI agents. And this very much is in the growth CFO world, we're starting to create this tool on how do we help, we're operational, how do we help use AI to build people and capacity where the companies are really prospering, right? Household income is good, all that kind of good stuff. And just in this conversation, I'll come back and make it all pretty, but there's, in this describing the destination, the vision to AI agents working things out. I think Diane describes some of that. Hey, your agents be out there working for you, negotiating deals, and it will know when to loop you in. I mean, that's a destination. And we talk about the intersect with the other disruptive technologies. I think AI is just like whatever, blockchain, Web3, robotics, what else? Autonomous vehicles. I'll come back and up the language so we got something to work with. But just illustrating that the conversation, it just brings these different levels of clarity that could be really useful. How to use AI to make sure your professionals, lawyer, architect, they got it, and what should you look at, and what should you negotiate to get a better outcome so that you can live the life. Would it be helpful if I kind of step through this a little bit? Just kind of, I'll share this with you guys as a linked document, preferably that you can make comments in. Like as you're thinking, make comments, and I'll take your comments and put it into this tool so that as we learn, the tool keeps becoming more useful. Okay. Are you guys okay if I kind of step through and open discussion up at different parts? Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
sounds good.
I was talking with somebody, who was it yesterday? Oh, Brian, it was you. It was Wednesday, right? Or maybe it was the day before. Who knows? But yeah, man, all this stuff's coming, a sense of uneasiness. And so I think if anybody's feeling that, including employees, that kind of thing, really bring it out. And the best approach we can have is to be proactive, right? At least responsive. You hear something, it makes sense, embrace it. And the alternative is to react. Oh my God, the sky is falling. The AI is whatever. It's going to go away. I remember reading articles about how the internet was going to go away. It was a fad, right? I remember reading those articles. The worst place to be is reactive, or not reactive. Reactive is in a temporary. I hear something, it makes me uncomfortable. I react. That's human. That's normal. Apparently, AI is doing that too sometimes. It's acting like a 2-year-old sometimes. But where we don't want to be, where we want to lead our team members, our employees, is we don't want to be resistance. Like this is not going to happen, because anybody that does that is probably going to really struggle. A lot of self-inflicted harm in that case. So I think proactive, bring people along. I mean, there is an abundance of prosperity. So I do believe, 30 years in the business building world and 55 years alive, right? I had my birthday on Wednesday. 55, whew, can't believe it, all right?
Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm waiting for the big 6. I can't wait till, 5 years out. I can only imagine what we're doing. That's a good place to start, is the vision, the destination. What is that like for ourselves, for our team members? What is it going to be like to be an employee in the future? Right? It's probably not going to be. I work like even though I'm not a factory worker, I work like a factory worker. If you want more, you need more. If you want more, you work more, kind of stuff. The world the near future, I don't know. Is it 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? I don't know. That's why to be determined on time. It probably, at each stage of our professional endeavors, from beginning to the end, we're probably starting out where you have AI buddy that knows something and know-how, and you probably have multiple AI agents. Like in our world, is hey, go figure out positive cash, bring me back the 80% answer, and I can put myself into it, or profitability, or access to capital, right? How do we present ourselves to that specific lender? Because lenders are different, right? And AI could accelerate the cycle time on that, like well beyond what somebody could do manually. So I'm going to propose that the starting point for ourselves, businesses, our clients is create a vivid vision of what you think that world looks like. Right? And does it have to be perfect? I have to know exactly what's going to happen 10 years from now? Really? Maybe next year, but it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Just whatever you know now, whatever time frame, whatever you want to look at, 1 year out, 3 years out, 5, 10, whatever time frame is relevant to you, where you can feel it, paint a picture with that destination, right? And the more you can see it, the more it's going to be the guiding light to inform what you do. Okay.
Yeah.
Then,
What's interesting, Kirk? I think this is also
yeah,
just to bring this up. It's like 4 or 5 years ago, when you said AI, you really just meant machine learning, right? Predictive analytics. You had to have a proper data set that was in the right format so that you can use some of the models to get some answer of past data anomalies, some kind of like correlation ratios, stuff like that, right? That was really AI. And now when we talk about it, most people like talk about it and they like never even have that. Not that it, they should or shouldn't, but it's just interesting. Now nobody even thinks about that when they talk about AI. It's almost always agents and LLM and we're doing some like document intelligence. So quite a bit of that with a client where you get that's another like phase that we haven't talked about too much that's coming into play is extracting things out of large documents to feed them into other systems. That
that's
was
huge. Yeah, so you're
man.
almost saying that the previous generations almost it's ambiguous, it's taken for granted, and now it's people's minds are in this next thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting the trend. Not placing as good or bad or any judgment. It's just that seems like that's where the trend is going.
Yeah, and there's so much there. So I want to make sure we land on time. So I'm going to keep moving if that's okay. Just overview. I'm going to share this with you as a document that you can download. You can make comments. If you make comments, I'm going to everything I learn I cultivate into a tool framework like this, so that we can use it, our clients can use it, other people can use it. And this setting the criteria, maybe it seems obvious in hindsight, but this came out of the WhatsApp group this week is, set a criteria. I think, Dave, I think you mentioned it, in fact. And I was like, well, that's a good idea. You got a destination and you set some kind of black and white selection criteria to start to make better decisions. That makes sense. So we evolve very quickly, right? And I have not run this through AI yet, but I probably will. Right? Okay, just kind of keeping an eye here to keep the flight going. Here's the components that we'll step through next. This is what I'm coming up with, for our business is it's always about the people. People are the X factor about whether good ideas get done well or good ideas don't get done or bad ideas, whatever. Human beings are the X factor, right? When human beings are in it, they get it, right? You get one outcome. If for any reason human beings are reactive or resistant, you get a different outcome, right? Is it just me that had that experience for people? It's the people. It truly is. Okay. Hard to build a great business, hard to get great outcomes if the people are like, why use a hammer if we can pound nails with rocks, right? Rocks are good, right? Okay, so we'll kind of step through the next tab here, but it's the people. Then I don't have a tab for it, but it could be strategically having that overarching AI buddy that knows the best practices of your business, knows the culture, like all the playbooks, that kind of stuff. And here's how we collaborate. Here's how we speak up. Here's how we drive wow factor impact. Maybe there's something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's playing out for us. And then there's a swarm of AI agent teammates, AI employees who actually perform certain tasks where your humans they have their set of tools and they're deploying. Go, AI agent number 1, 2, 3, go, go, go. Bring me back the results, and then they got to guide the AI. No, I want it this way. I want it that way. Make the presentation for Mary, right? Where it really gets into Mary's personality. Okay, maybe Mary likes the song or the PowerPoint. Who knows? And and then the fourth component of the strategy is that machine-to-machine integration. The API and the agents talking to each other. Isn't that crazy to think you might have a computer doing negotiating stuff for you and setting stuff up? Yeah, crazy now? Is it just me? Yeah, wild. And what does life look like then? I mean, like your life, your time, how you use your time, how much of it for productive means.
So
Uh,
I have a question, Kirk.
uh,
Um, has anybody on this call actually used AI, an agent or whatever, to talk to negotiate something? Has that actually been done?
I have not.
I've
Greg?
used it for customers. So like I'm a personal trainer, and when someone comes into my chat or a direct message, and I compose what I want to say, and then I run it through AI and ask it to rate it how what I'm saying is from the customer's perspective. It breaks down how I can say things better and how I could better communicate what I need to communicate. I mean, not directly, but as far as how I communicate with other people and how I fact check myself, it's very efficient, and it gives me ratings. As you know, I ask it to rate how my last YouTube video was on accuracy and all these
Oh,
points,
wow.
for example, and how
Yeah.
I am perceived from the customer's perspective. I run it through AI just as if it was a person I was asking it for, a criticism of what I'm saying. So,
Yeah, so
but I haven't used it directly. It says some things like that I normally wouldn't say that would sound cool, but I haven't used it directly in talking to people or
yeah, so
communicating with
coaching
people.
feedback, but not the direct, hey, go figure this out, go negotiate something.
Exactly. Like I'll ask it, on a scale of 1 to 10, evaluate each of the statements that I made right here. And it'll give me on a scale of 1 to 10. And I found that it's really, especially when you're talking about things that relate to health and fitness, it's really hard to get a 10 because a lot of the stuff is debatable. So I usually stop at 8 when I'm on a scale of 1 to 10, when I know that I have a certain level of confidence in communicating what I'm communicating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I would love to follow up the question with a clarifying question of what are we negotiating? Or
Uh,
what is it negotiating for us?
I,
Um,
it's real estate leases. But yeah,
yeah,
I'm the agent. I have a lawyer. I don't, the lawyer's going to do the heavy lifting, but I have to still read the lease.
yeah.
So how do I, uh, and get the best negotiating points out?
Yep. I think this is actually a great use case of AI because you can copy and paste or upload the document depending on your which chat bot you're using. And again, make sure it's private. It's not going back to train the model. Your data is just staying right there, but ask it to review it as if it was your legal counsel.
mm,
Ask it to identify the weak points in in the contract and what might be strong negotiation rebuttals. And then that way it's assisting you. It's not negotiating for you, but it's assisting you in um, seeing things that in this is where it's like such a superpower as a thought partner. It helps me see things that I might have missed normally, or perhaps I'm reviewing something at like 10 p.m. and I've had a long day, right? And so this is a great way for it to kind of to if you put in the prompt and instruct it how you want it to analyze, or if you want it to look for specific things that your instincts like your AI is never going to have your intuition or your gut check. And so listen to yourself as you're prompting it for what to look for. And then you'll be just operating, at your superpower with the AI superpower, and that's a great pairing. But I think it's like a wonderful way to have it review things and point out blind spots or weak areas, and then ideate or brainstorm with you on how to make it better or how to work through the logic in the counter negotiation, or even provide you with examples where that counter negotiation has worked, has performed successfully. And I think that another kind of use case around this idea of negotiation is like when I get a tough question and I'm not like satisfied with how I answered it, I'll go back to my agentic workforce because I have an orchestrator that's working with multiple agents, each have its own persona. And I'll say, hey, how would you answer this question? Here's some context about the person requesting it. You already know the context about me. How should I answer this question? And then you can ideate around that too. One last thing, and then I'll stop talking, but I strongly encourage all of us to use voice more often because it really shifts the dynamics of the conversation that's happening. It's also something that you can do in your car. Like while you're driving, you can talk to your AI and it will talk back. But if you're working through this negotiation piece specifically in through voice, you're actually practicing delivering that message as well, which is really powerful.
Those are great insights. And okay, so let's come in for a landing, right? We got the conversation going. We're getting to know each other. Look at this as a beginning versus an end. There's definitely things here about AI skills. Some of these folks we're talking about. This tool is going to evolve. So I'm going to share the link with you in the WhatsApp group, and you can add comments, and we'll keep cultivating the tool. There's definitely there's a list of from different folks. There's a list of different tools that might be useful. If nothing else, this show look how fragmented it is. And then if you hear that's one good, this is great for image making. Well, then yesterday I heard about another one that's hitting the charts, Rev or something, right? So how do you? Obviously, you can't chase team members with best practices. Can't just change every day. So how do you use a tool until it's matured, outlived its usefulness, and then intentionally take the next step? I think those are questions or skills that we can talk about going forward. But that's how I'm going to use this. I'm going to organize everything into like kind of a functional, because that's how most people think about their business. And there might be, who knows, there might be a section here about life. I heard that come up. See, I actually do listen despite what you might heard, right? I heard something about life, communicate, and then different things. So I'm going to do that so we respect time. Okay, so after this, we're going to send you an email with a link to recording. Number two, invite you into the WhatsApp group. That's where the momentum is going to be, and bring other people along. Right, this world gets better the more we're using it. Bringing people along, your employee, team members, whatever it is, subject matter experts. Right, there's a chance for there's plenty in the world. There's a chance for subject matter experts to really collaborate because no one's going to have the one answer. And who knows, you might do deals together. Who knows, that kind of stuff. Introduce yourself in the WhatsApp group. Right, the more we know each other, the better. Okay, is that fair? Is that fair? Right, introduce that kind of
Good.
stuff. I'm
For
very
putting this together,
excited.
Kirk.
Yep, and this is Lane here. I'm personally very excited. The alternative is I can resist it, go live in a cave, and then have miserable financial outcomes, and household incomes going down, and you're losing customers and stuff. That's an option. I don't want to do that. I don't want to see anybody else. As long as people are willing to lean in, get out of the comfort zone, take a shot, and do it. If we do it strategically, it's just, okay. They won't all land, but that's fine. But the strategy evolves. I'm very excited about being on this journey with you all and figuring this out and bringing prosperity to people. So, hey, thank you for joining. Okay, thank you much, and bring people in, man. We got the brain power rate here alone is phenomenal.
Thanks
Okay.
for getting us together.
Yeah, thank you.
My
Bye.
pleasure.
Nice meeting
See
everyone.
you soon. Let's go.
Thank
Have a
you.
great week. Have a great weekend.
Cheers. Thanks, Kirk. See ya.
Hasta luego. Bye.